Here we go. Good morning, good afternoon, good evening. I received some notification from people in Vietnam. I have also received notification from Ethiopia. I've received notification. Um, when I say notification, that is people that are tuning into us. Definitely from South Africa, and South Africa's got a lot of problems right now, but there are people there that are still talking about the issue. What's up with my hat there? It's just kind of ugly. What's up? Anyway, good morning, Zelinka. Good morning, everybody. This is Chief O. I'd like you to share, comments, and let's talk about it. The reason why we call this show Let's Talk About It is very simple. It's simply because people don't want to talk about many different issues that affect our lives. This is Chief O. I'm the host of Let's Talk About It. And I really have a good guest today, a great guest. As usual, she's always good. Do I need this hat? No, I don't need this hat. But I'll put it on anyway because I want to salute all my brothers and all my fellow soldiers, especially those that are coming back from war in Afghanistan. Welcome back, my brothers. Good to see you. I hope your family's all right. Welcome back to you tonight. Good old USA. Come on in. You've been gone for a long time, and we miss you. All the veterans who are coming back home. Thanks to all the presidents. No one of them gets a credit. Sorry about that. But I'm just not all the defense Department of Defense secretaries get all the credit either. Come on home. Hopefully you'll be here to help us grow. Now, I want you to please remember, call. If you have a question about the subject matter that we're talking about, call 667-298-3433. Give it a shot and let's see what happens. Maybe you can ask a good question. Or maybe I can give you a good answer. Maybe. Nevertheless, returning soldiers, welcome back. I don't know who won the basketball game last night, but I understand that the series is tied 2-2. That's great. That's kind of a championship game you like to see. Not one blow away and just win everything. Former South African president, is in jail. That's right. Corruption. So bad we can't do that to other folks. Can't get this hat on us right. Just to stay right. Sorry, Zelinka. My head done shrunk or something. But anyway, uh, we're still talking about, and I guess everybody's still looking for who killed the Haitian president. Haiti, my goodness, the only Western country that have Africa, black country, black operated, black owned nation that have never been defeated. That's correct. Like my guest today, nobody have ever defeated her in all her efforts. She's awesome, just a fighter just strictly a strong fighter. But the Haitian president, they're still looking for who killed him, who assassinated him. You believe that? In these modern times, the man was trying to do his best. Now, his wife, we do believe, may have survived uh, the attempt on her life. But the last thing that we heard is that she was being taken to a more prestigious hospital, and hopefully she survived too. Haiti, to all the Haitians in America, c'est passé na boule, c'est passé na boule. I don't speak very much, but I do know a few words. May God bless all of you. May God protect all of you. You're the only free country we have that is operated by black people, owned by black people. So call and let's talk about it. But this segment is not about that. What we're going to talk about today is something that has happened recently because there's so many subjects to talk about, so many issues. Too often people don't talk about some illnesses that affect black people. For some reason, we don't have a database that gives us the kind of specific data that we all need to talk about. I mean, everybody take care of their own. The Latinos take care of their own. All the Caucasians, white people, they take care of their own. And sometimes they take care of a little bit of us. A little bit of us. But we don't have a system set up that we can get direct information about what happens to our people. For example, we have missing children. A lot of missing children. In Maryland, there's a lot of missing children. It's very difficult for a child to just be a child and grow up and be a grown-up, because somehow or another they get missing. This hand is crooked or what? Anyway, missing children. You can go to any Walmart and there's a wall of missing children. I was going to post it, but I've decided not to do that. And of course, we remember now that COVID is supposed to be over. For those of you who believe that it was real in the first place. Now, don't be angry. Don't get pissed off. We're all grown-ups. A lot of people simply don't believe that COVID really existed. A lot of people. Now after COVID is supposedly gone, never really gone, now there's a new one. That the media, again, the controllers of the media, the mainstream media, have now declared that there's a new one called, what is it called? David Delta. And that this Delta virus is traveling however it travels, right to black communities. Again, just like the COVID, right to the black community. So it almost seems like they're just coming up with diseases to remove black people from Earth. This Earth will not be here if we leave. I'm telling you, you guys that are trying to create, you call yourself scientists, and I call you mad scientists, crazy scientists that are coming up with all these viruses, and it somehow always keeps the Irish community, the Italian community, the Polish community. It doesn't go over there, maybe one or two, because some kid associated with a black person, and then they capture, the Latinos. You guys are next. But Delta is finding its way to Chicago, Milwaukee, Atlanta, Baltimore City. And then the numbers will start going up. And then a new vaccine will come up again. And then they will sell it for $2,000-$3,000 a vial. People think it's free. It ain't free. Somebody did it. Somebody manufactured it. Somebody put it in the little vial that they put it into, and somebody had to sell it. It's a product, and we are the ones that the product are inject somewhere or another, one way or another. They put it into us. Now they're going after children, 12 years to 17 years. I don't know about you. I got grandkids, and I am very worried. I'm very, very concerned about that. All I see is a lot of videos of 2 white nurses, maybe 3, and a black woman pushing a little black 12-year-old child to sit down and holding them, sit down, and they shoot them, or jam them. They inject them with kind of vaccine. So, we just have to continue to make sure as much as we can to protect our children. We lose children, we lose a generation of people. It's already in the educational field, we already lost a generation of students that could be medical doctors, medical doctors, lawyers. So it's like every time that we take a 2, 3, 4 step forward, somebody comes up and pours some oil, and the next thing you know, we're sliding back again. And we have to start all over again. But we do, and we continue because how innovatively we're just as smart as anybody else. We're just as good as anybody else. So anyway, that's what's happening in some places around the world. There's a little conflict going on, a lot of conflict going on in Africa. You know, I try to cover both sides of the spectrum wherever Black people live. So one of the things that we know is that the young man that was captured in Kenya, who was living as a citizen of England, or United Kingdom, a citizen of that country, who traveled to Kenya on their citizen's passport. His name is Nnamdi Kanu. When he got to Kenya, some operators from Nigeria, they linked up with the Kenyan agents, and the next thing you know, the young man was captured, kidnapped, beaten up, and boof, straight on to Nigeria, where they have him now incarcerated. We kind of wish his family well, wish the entire Biafran people that he was the leader of. Biafra. I keep talking about it because I lived there for a while. Wonderful people, great food, you know, and I even speak Igbo. Yes, I do. I love it, and I love them. Mwah. But I hope that Nnamdi Kanu is A-okay, surviving. Oh, this transatlantic slave movement doesn't seem to stop. You know, they just doesn't seem to stop. But anyway, here we are. We wish him very much well. Today, July 15, 2021, let's talk about it with Chifo and an awfully good, sometime co-host of my own, Zelinka Bazemore. Bring my sister on. There she is.
Hi, good morning. Good morning, Chief O. How are you? Good morning.
I lost a good friend of mine, but I'm doing my best to try to adjust to it. I can't seem to adjust to it yet. I'm trying. You know, he was a good friend for 20, 30 years. We traveled and did a lot of community work like you're doing. You are a master of community work, and we're doing it. And one of these days, people, I want all the listeners to listen. This lady is going to be mayor. She's pushing it hard. The mayor of Baltimore City, and she is so active, so involved. Her name is Zelinka. And Zelinka had an issue that we sometimes, in the Black community, too often we talk about it. And people just don't talk about the issue that she's going to talk about, that she had the experience on. But before she gets into talking about it, we would like to play a small video on what this issue is all about. What Chuck, Chief-O, what are you saying? What's the problem? What is this issue you keep calling? All you calling it as issue? Let my producer show you what it is.
Every 4 seconds, someone is diagnosed with Alzheimer's disease. It's the most common cause of dementia, affecting over 40 million people worldwide. And yet, finding a cure is something that still eludes researchers today. Dr. Alois Alzheimer, a German psychiatrist, first described the symptoms in 1901, when he noticed that a particular hospital patient had some peculiar problems, including difficulty sleeping, disturbed memory, drastic mood changes, and increasing confusion. When the patient passed away, Alzheimer was able to do an autopsy and test his idea that perhaps her symptoms were caused by irregularities in the brain's structure. What he found beneath the microscope were visible differences in brain tissue, in the form of misfolded proteins called plaques and neurofibrillary tangles. Those plaques and tangles work together to break down the brain's structure. Plaques arise when another protein in the fatty membranes surrounding nerve cells gets sliced up by a particular enzyme, resulting in beta-amyloid proteins, which are sticky and have a tendency to clump together. That clumping is what forms the things we know as plaques. These clumps block signaling and therefore communication between cells, and also seem to trigger immune reactions that cause the destruction of disabled nerve cells. In Alzheimer's disease, neurofibrillary tangles are built from a protein known as tau. The brain's nerve cells contain a network of tubes that act like a highway for food molecules, among other things. Usually, the tau protein ensures that these tubes are straight, allowing molecules to pass through freely. But in Alzheimer's disease, the protein collapses into twisted strands or tangles, making the tubes disintegrate, obstructing nutrients from reaching the nerve cell and leading to cell death. The destructive pairing of plaques and tangles starts in a region called the hippocampus, which is responsible for forming memories. That's why short-term memory loss is usually the first symptom of Alzheimer's. The proteins then progressively invade other parts of the brain, creating unique changes that signal various stages of the disease. At the front of the brain, the proteins destroy the ability to process logical thoughts. Next, they shift to the region that controls emotions, resulting in erratic mood changes. At the top of the brain, they cause paranoia and hallucinations. And once they reach the brain's rear, the plaques and tangles work together to erase the mind's deepest memories. Eventually, the control centers governing heart rate and breathing are overpowered as well, resulting in death. The immensely destructive nature of this disease has inspired many researchers to look for a cure, but currently, they're focused on slowing its progression. One temporary treatment helps reduce the breakdown of acetylcholine, an important chemical messenger in the brain, which is decreased in Alzheimer's patients due to the death of the nerve cells that make it. Another possible solution is a vaccine that trains the body's immune system to attack beta-amyloid plaques before they can form clumps. But we still need to find an actual cure. Alzheimer's disease was discovered more than a century ago, and yet still it is not well understood. Perhaps one day we'll grasp the exact mechanisms at work behind this threat, and a solution will be unearthed.
You went through this. You went through this process, so you went through this issue.
First, I would like to explain, because that's some in-depth research and presentation about Alzheimer's and dementia that can occur due to Alzheimer's. Let me first thank you for letting me come on this morning to talk about this issue, because I have studied Alzheimer's and dementia now for 12 years. So I've almost become like an expert on it, because I first saw my fighter coming down with some symptoms. And I took him to the emergency room. This was in 2009, and this was right after, about 4 years after I retired Kenny Bazemore. And I'm speaking on in terms of my fighter, because I managed and coached his boxing career since the 80s, since 87, all the way up until I retired him in 2004. So dementia also can occur as almost like a parasite in the brain. And some people get it confused about Alzheimer's or dementia related to the disease Alzheimer's, and then just dementia, which is almost like a natural parasite in the brain. Then you can come down with dementia symptoms due to long-term or short-term brain injuries. Okay. So let me first start off by saying I want to thank everyone that prayed. I want to thank everyone that's eyes were out in search of my husband, the champ, last Wednesday when he was missing from our home around 6:15 p.m.
Mhm.
We were to locate him due to eyes on the ground and me putting a press release out at 4 a.m. in the morning to all the media and all the social media. So we
As
had over 600.
get back, go back a little. Give me the day, the details of what happened on that particular day. How did it just happen, and how did our champ, just walk out the house or leave? Give us a
Oh
little bit.
no, he didn't just walk out the house. So let me just tell my story, okay? And my story and our story is really a testimony as well, and it's a model according to Detective Audie that came past yesterday to close the missing person case out. Um, so time and time, I've had my husband go through several tests. He was diagnosed by the director of neurology with having dementia. They ran several tests, but they also found out his was not Alzheimer's related. His was a early onset of dementia due to 30 years of boxing,
Mm,
professional boxing. So that's in his medical records. So for those individuals and that are athletes, be careful about your brain. In some sports, it's not that easy. It's easier said than done to be
mhm.
careful about your brain. And we'll get into that on another Let's Talk About It. But last Wednesday, as I always do, the reason why all of you see my husband and I, Kenny Bazemore, together basically 100% of the time is for three reasons. I've taken him, we went through the testing. He was diagnosed in 2009. And he had the top of the top neurologist, the director of Kaiser, Capitol Hill Kaiser, Permanente. Then he's been to here at Union Memorial when we came here to Union Memorial, and doctors even from John Hopkins. He's even been participated in a research study where they just actually, the FDA just actually approved the medication that they've been researching since 2016 for Alzheimer's patients to slow the progression of that disease down. Well, he went through 2 months of the study, and the head of the head neurologist for that study, that clinical trial, said, Ms. Bazemore, I have good news and bad news. And I said, okay, give me the good news first. The good news is that we've demand everything, and you were right. The director of neurology was correct. His dementia is not Alzheimer's related. Um, the second thing was he cannot be a part of the research study because it's not Alzheimer's related. So that, but we had an opportunity for him to go through every test, every CAT scan, every PAT scan, every MRI, everything. He went through all blood work. He went through all of the tests. So let me just say that Kenneth has been doing pretty good, but that disease will progress in time. So over the past 2 years, he has started getting caught and stuck in his long-term memories and has forgotten 10 years of his life.
Mm,
Okay. He has
mm.
even forgotten, I have to remind him that we are married. So
Whoa!
sometimes he does not even remember getting married. So what I do is I show him pictures. So
Mhm.
one thing about you have to know your family member. That's why you can't deal with everybody. Alzheimer's as well as dementia affects the brain and it affects behavior.
Yeah,
It affects cognitive thinking abilities. That's abilities to make good decisions.
right.
And if you have working with a loved one, or you're in the medical field and you're working with some clients that have have dementia, and I want to stick with dementia this morning, then you get to know some of the symptoms, but you have to be able to handle that individual in an appropriate manner. And a lot of times when it's us working with our loved ones, our most closest jewels, um, we get caught up emotionally because, some people say, Miss Bates, well, I don't know how you do it. My brother, before he died, said, Bates, Kenny's got to be the most luckiest man in the world because I don't know a woman here in Seattle that would stay married to someone that doesn't even remember that they're not married to you. And you have hung in there with Kenny. You have been there for him, and that's what one thing that the detectives told me that makes a difference is when a person gets missing. Believe it or not, I don't care how cautious you are. I don't care what type of devices you have set up in your home to keep the person safe. If you have a determined individual, and baseball is determined, he won 4 gold medalists in South Africa during apartheid in '78. Of course, he got reprimanded for it when he came back to the States. But he was 18 and went to South Africa, and a year later, peacekeepers were able to come in. So sometimes they use athletes, they use musicians, but he's had a wonderful life. He's still having a wonderful life. Why? Because his wife is still functional, still sharp as ever. God still has me on missions. So he get to experience something new every single day. But last Wednesday, that day, the red flag went up early at 4 a.m. At
Zal-
5 a.m., my alarm clock went off.
Zalinka, before you,
And all of a sudden, I didn't see him. Let me finish it. All of a sudden, I didn't see him in the bed. So I told my son, get up and go outside because he's not in the bathroom either. So he was out front with his bedroom slippers on. He was fully dressed like he was going somewhere at 5 a.m. in the morning. It was still dark. So when he came upstairs, he started laughing because he was stuck in an old reality that we still live at 544 Irving Street in DC. So he thought he was going to go outside, get in his cougar that he hasn't had for 25 years, and just drive back to what he considers home. So I said, no, Mr. Bazemore, we're 65 miles away from where our family house is in DC, that, by the way, has been rented to college students for the past 12 years. So, no, okay. So we went throughout the day, and I keep him very active, okay. We even have a desk set up at my office where he is my assistant, where he does a lot of my mailings, my clinical. So that evening he waited because that's what he does. You have to know who you're working with. So if you have a loved one at home and you're trying to keep them safe, and I heard over a dozen stories throughout this issue last Wednesday, and I kept telling people, um, no, I know my husband right now is thinking I effed up because I should listen to Z. And that's what even people with dementia or even dementia, they have to try to maintain being humble. And I'm noticing about their character and, of course, their behavior shifts from time to time because they can become paranoid, even of the person that's taking care of them. There's a lot that go on during the day or even in the evening when the disease progresses, which over the past year it has started progressing. But there is no cure. And some people cannot tolerate the 3 medications, which 2 of the medications, like Namendaz, they can't tolerate it because they may not have ever put anything in their body at all. He's been an athlete 30 years. So he's always ate a healthy diet. He's never did drugs. He's never drinked. He's never smoked. Okay. So he's lived a real squeaky clean lifestyle. So what does that mean? Well, if you put him on medications, his body may accept it for a couple of weeks or maybe a couple of months. But once his body adjusts to it, then it may be a whole different story. Here comes the side effects. So I even went through a whole lot. You read it in my book when it comes out. So what I'm telling people this morning, the important thing is use my model. We was able to find another young lady in Parksville on Sunday because I put another press thing out there describing the woman, taking the information that was posted, but putting a twist on it, which was I went and plastered it across social media. She was found and back spotted, and she was brought back home safely by Sunday night, Sunday evening. So Mr. Bazemore, no, mm-mm. And so Mr. Bazemore had eyes of the whole village on him, from from Elijah Westbrook calling me at 5:30 a.m. in the morning, to Christina Flowers, that are boots on the ground every day working with the homeless and our most vulnerable citizens, to even Ruth Gomez, who actually worked as a sign waiver for President Trump's reelection campaign. And we got to meet her in Upper Park Heights. So when she noticed that morning, when she noticed Thursday morning, when she went out to get her paper or her mail, that there was a gentleman sitting at the bus stop across from her house. And first she paid it no mind. She went back in the house. It was around 8 o'clock. But then at the 12 o'clock news, she saw everything blast in the post. And she said, wait a minute. So when she went out to walk her dog at 2 o'clock, she noticed the same guy sitting at the bus stop with, and she recognized now the clothes he was wearing: white Dockers, a light blue dress shirt, and some burgundy loafers. She said, wow, I think that's Miss Basemore's husband. So she immediately went in and tried to call me. I was on my way back from DC at the time, and my phone died. But then Christina Flowers and I hooked up. Christina caught me coming in from looking in a 4 mile radius all throughout the city because I didn't sleep that night. The detectives went out and they scoured the city most of the night and then called me in the morning. So everyone was on a hunt. Eyes were open. Ricky Vaughn, from Kevin, from just hundreds, I mean, over 600 people, business owners. I told them, download the picture. They put it on their doors of their stores. So if we all come together and work together, we can keep our loved ones safe. But there is no cure for this. You have to be very loving, unconditionally, very determined. And of all things, what really played a role, because I know Kevin Brown, owner of Nancy's Cafe yesterday, said, welcome back home, champ. Don't do that again. Don't disobey your wife and sneak out right in the same room and you sneak out because he's that determined. And while I was giving testimony on a Zoom for the Maryland Redistricting Committee, he just eased himself right out, right out of the door again on me. So he had a 40-minute jump. So we found him on more than 9 miles away from the house. But how was we able to find him? Number one, I talk to God, I pray. And I know my husband. I knew that the only way he would be found is if I had as many eyes looking out for him immediately. So that's why I wrote the press release. I put, you guys, if you have to do that, make sure you describe everything that person has on when they went missing. because it makes a difference. Don't just plaster somebody's face up there. Okay. Describe everything that they had on. Describe their weight, their height, okay, any visible scars. And the second thing I want to tell you is what Detective Audie told me yesterday when he closed the case out. And he felt so good. If y'all look at my post this morning, y'all will see Detective Audie and Champ standing together, strong together. He said, Miss Bazemore, I noticed something else. We watched the body camera because see, everybody watches me and follows me. A lot of officials follow me on Facebook because I'm on the ground every day, and I'm almost like a voice for the people. And we continue to look at issues. He said, you know, I did review, and he was a rookie. Officer Lewis. He was a young rookie that we assigned to that dish, reassigned, because they reassigned all of our officers that we've known for 2 years, that know us, that know community, and they've assigned them to other tasks. So when you get to resigning people and you get to now change the priority on 911 calls, this could be an outcome where things are not, because when it happened twice before, he was found in less than 2 hours because our officers in our community knew us. They immediately, they had three officers cars come. One took the report, the other two was on the walkie making a description, putting in the national and the state alarm. The other two immediately went out and started canvassing. He was found in like less than an hour. So
Oh,
when you get to this, when that talks about another issue about the city rethinking how the police department does their job. And he said, Miss Bazemore, I actually studied that video, and you're right. It took him an hour and a half, and I kind of retrained him about that. He said it took him where he wasn't really looking at you as a human. He was looking at you as just a number and just keying in. He said, and he has got to look at you as as a person that he needs to get to know. Okay. You have to develop relationships in the community with the residents of that district when it comes to community policing. And the second thing is waiting an hour before you put that alert out because you're there trying to do the paperwork. And you're listening. I said, I understand, but that's a fact. I'm glad that this incident has even you guys training, the veterans training the young recruits that are coming in. So we all have play a role here. And so when you pray, somebody Kevin asked me yesterday, Miss Bazemore, I watched you driving and you didn't have a worried look. You didn't, it's like, and then you turned around that evening and Z-Bay Development Group, you held the workshop. How did you able to do that? Shannon Wright asked me. You better me. I don't know how I would be on strike right now. I don't know how you're dealing with. Number one is I think over 600 people last week looked at what faith does and how faith looks. My faith was tested last week. I'm going to say that again. My faith was tested last week on Wednesday, on Thursday. My faith never wavered. Why? Because God works when we work. Prayer is not enough. You pray for something, you have faith, but without works, it's dead because you don't arouse God to action if you just going to pray and do nothing. Just sit still. Oh, I'll wait for the police. They'll call me. I'll just call them once a day and they'll let me know whether they found my husband or whether they found my son or whether they found my daughter. No, you have to do the work. I was proactive the entire time. You look at my Facebook page. Christina came. We were playing tag team. Christina came. I had just pulled up from getting coffee from 7-Eleven because I had just wrote a press release sent it to all the media, local media, and national media. I had all posted it on all 160 of my Facebook groups. Okay. So that was over 200,000 people right there that follow me. So what am I saying? You have to be proactive. It's not enough for you to just report your loved one missing. You have to, and pray. You have to do the work. Okay. So Christina came and got me so I didn't have to drive anymore at 7 a.m. And we drove around the city. It was quiet around 6 a.m. It was quiet. We rolled up on every officer that was changing shifts. And we actually had them pull up their own email alert. Okay. Some of them hadn't even pulled it up. Oh, I saw something coming over across my email. Okay. I said, well, pull it up. And Christina took pictures of me being proactive with our officers all the way up to Penn and North. Okay, we talked to the homeless people that are up Penn and North, ready to get their drugs first thing in the morning, as if it was food. Okay, but guess what? They had eyes out. They had eyes out. One had spotted at the down on Falls Way. So you have to be proactive, people. It's not enough for you to pray, and that's with everything that you do. If you think that you don't have the power to actually make things happen, then you just don't understand even who you are as a human being. Because when God created us, He created everything in us that we need in order to be successful, in order to overcome all obstacles that life will bring your way. My faith was tested. And
Awesome.
guess what? I passed the test. And that's why my husband was found within the first 24 hours,
Oh,
because we wasn't going to stop
that's-
until we made sure that he was home safe.
thank God for that.
What would be your test?
Thank God for that. Thank God for that. Zelenka, you gave an awesome testimony, and I think we can very much say all of us who are watching my damn over there. I see him. What's up, Kenneth? I'm watching you, bro. I'm watching. Yeah, I got you, man. Uh, oh man, I'm glad you don't hit me with that left hook. I'm,
His right hand was the brick. 20, 29 KOs.
not bad at all. Kenneth, I'm glad to see you. I'm glad that you're okay. Um, just very, very thankful that you're all right. That's all that matters right now. I'm very thankful to God for helping you out and watching over you, because I think that when you were in that state, He was watching. He was being
Absolutely.
with you. Um,
He didn't flow him in. He didn't flow him in the hood. He
man,
flowed him in Upper Park Heights.
I'm happy that.
Thank you, Lord.
Uh, say
Thank
again.
you.
What you say?
Thanks for your prayers.
Thank you for your prayer, baby.
Bro, you're welcome. You're my brother. We're gonna have breakfast again. I'm looking forward. Um, I'm glad to see that the police were very active and very involved, and even more happy that the eyes of the community, as you call them, but most important, the family. The family have to continue to be vengeful and watchful of all these things, all the possibilities that are taking place with your children, with the young girls, the young boys. Got to keep an eye. Family is it. You
Yeah,
know,
we have a responsibility as the loved ones, and we have a responsibility for doing all and everything in our power to keep one another safe. It's when
absolutely.
I hear young people being shot and killed or injured, my first question is, do you know where your children are? Do
Do you,
you know?
do you know what they're doing?
Yeah,
You're
thank you.
doing.
So we want to talk about stopping the young violence here in Baltimore. Then we need parents to step up and be parents again. I've
Absolutely.
never been my children's or my grandchildren's friend. I'm not on your level. I'm not one of your peers. I am the boss. I'm your parent.
You know,
Okay.
a special thanks has to go to you, in particular, as an individual who really have the love of your family and the love of your husband at heart, because it really starts from an individual. You are amazing human being God has put on this earth, and I'm hoping that everybody listen and watch carefully and listen to the advice that you just gave. You've given some great advice on what to do when certain circumstances and certain things occur in the family. This is not an easy task at all. We're talking
No.
15 years and carefully watching. I mean, I got my daughter-in-laws and my daughter. They're all the same way. They're they're really strong, and and watching what you're doing. And I think that you're an amazing person. And Kenneth, he's hanging in there, and I'm glad to see you, bro. I'm really happy to see you. One of these days, I'm gonna get you, bro.
Well, we're about to keep him busy and open up Basemore's House of Champions next spring.
Just
So we're going to get him back where he can teach, because he has not forgotten the art of boxing. As you guys see, he let you know, I remember all that. That's
yeah.
30 years of my life. So he did have a 2-year program over at Honeycomb. We're going to be opening that up again right before school closes in 2022. We just want to see how everything reopens back up.
Oh,
So we look forward to getting him busy again on that level. Giving back to you.
let's talk about it. We'll be more than happy to be there on the opening day, to be able to video it and see Kenny teaching young people how to box and how to protect themselves, all the things they need to. I mean, I boxed a little bit, but I got knocked out.
Oh wow!
I mean,
Did you box in the service?
yes, I did, and somebody figured out a way to get to my jaw. When
You gotta be able to move, Chiefo. But you gotta
move,
snip and move, right?
I
Gotta
was
bob and weave.
trying to move. I mean, I was looking for a way to jump that darn fence, but that I, he caught me. But 29 KOs, that is awesome record.
Yeah.
That is really well done, Ken. I'm so proud of you. Um, this is the kind of issues that we like to talk about. We're moving on to other things.
Thanks for having me.
Never really knew that there was a difference between dementia and Alzheimer's. The way they lump everything together, you kind of think that it's all one,
You're
but
right.
apparently not. And I'm just glad that Kenny is handling it himself, because he himself must
Yes,
also,
it does.
he knows what's going on with his own body.
Absolutely, he does.
He's handling it
He
himself.
said he all right now.
Kenny, you and I, just one. Let me get one. Let me get just one. Right up to the moon. I'm just so happy. I'm happy. I'm very happy. Zelenka, thank you for your testimony. This is there's a lot of questions I want to ask, but I don't think it's necessary, because in your testimony you covered the most important part, which is the fact that you have be thankful to God, believe that God is with you. God is around, right? He's around us. He may
No
not
question.
as you want him, but he'll be there right on time. A lot of people,
Absolutely.
there's some people know
So
that.
so how deep is your faith?
Yeah,
Because it's your faith, but it's your works that
that's
actually
correct.
ignite God's power.
Well, we would have asked some people to call in, but you can also call in after the show. You can call in at our number, 667-298-3433. And I would give you Zelenka's number, but I don't want you folks to be out there bothering her about this. But, wait till she finish her book. I'm sure we all will see it. And that experience is worth writing about. And everybody out there that have children that has some kind of an issue that you may not understand, but you see the symptoms, be diligently open your eyes and protect. Begin that. Let that protection click into that head
Yeah.
so that you can be constantly aware and constantly trying to protect your family. Kenneth, I'm so happy to see you. Your cognitive is still very much available, so if you're going to teach, I'm sure there's a lot of young people that would like to learn from you of that experience. That is a tremendous 30 years experience of being involved in the sports. That is really very much fun because people don't get into sports unless they know that they're good at it. They can win.
It takes a lot of discipline to become a champion, and
And
especially to keep becoming a champion. It's a lot of discipline,
a lot of discipline. And Ken, you got it.
a lot of work.
That's what
That's why the police, the detectives say that's why. He said that's why we couldn't catch him because he was 9 miles away from the house. Ain't nothing wrong with his health. He's in great shape. Because he walked that was 9 miles. And when Ruth actually found Kenny, and they, gave him water.
Thank you, Ruth. I'm not sure who you are.
Ruth Gomez, and everyone, I know Giovanni knows her because she actually held signs for his campaign for Trump right up in Park Heights.
I probably because I held those very same signs.
Right.
Wherever you are, Ruth, I thank God for you. I thank God
Absolutely.
that you're very vigilant.
Ruth Gomez.
And you've
and Christina Flowers.
Both of you. And if we talk about this issue again, because we will talk about it, I don't have any problem doing the same program multiple times, but I don't want Zelenka to release too much information on her book. Otherwise, that's a problem.
I would definitely love to have Ruth Gomez and Christina Flowers and the detective on your show because I think they could give even a lot more insight in terms of being those eyes on the ground. So I'm on my way to Philly this morning to a convention. I just won the Olympic Club silver for Kemper yesterday. I was awarded the silver plaque yesterday. So I'm in Philly today at a convention.
You're driving to Philly, drive carefully.
Thank you, I will.
Really love the Philly. I want to thank everybody. This is Let's Talk About It. This is Chief O. Let's talk about it every time. Thank you, Zelenka. Thank you. Thank you very much.
Bye-bye.
So thank you all. God bless all of you and all of you who are watching. Thank you all very much. That was an awesome, really awesome testimony. And we cannot be more grateful that Kenneth Bazemore is A-OK. We have to be very happy. I mean, really, this Alzheimer's, dementia, diseases, and there's still no cure. That's the most disturbing part about it. There's still no cure. And, scientists, there are some good scientists out there really trying to find some cure for these kinds of diseases. And there's some scientists that are trying to make some money to buy some yachts. Some people are just ain't that damn good. But, what causes it? I really appreciate my producer for the show. I'm just so happy. I'm happy, very happy that Kenneth is fine. Kenneth is fine, and I'm happy for his wife for being so wifey, loving. That's my word, wifey. I've been married for 50 years, so people ask me, how's your wife doing? Wifing along. Just wifing along. You got to be in the business to know about it. Some of you don't know nothing about it. Just be patient. That's all you need. And you'll be okay. You'll be so surprised at so much power that you have as a husband and as a wife. So much that comes into it. I can tell you. You learn an awful lot almost every day. I like this show. Let's talk about this show. Because now we talked about something the world need to know about. Zelenka, you did well. You did well. Until the next time, this is Chifo. May God bless you. Keep your family safe. Do the best that you can.